The sperm concentrations, when we last looked at them, which was samples collected in 2011, the sperm concentration in Western countries was 47 million per milliliter, down from 99 million per milliliter 39 years earlier. And how low it's going to go before we wake up and say we have to stop this, I don't know how long that's going to take, but it's urgent.
Human sperm counts declining worldwide, study finds. Researchers disagree on whether the trend has implications for human fertility. Hey Science Maniatics, it's Paula here. Let's talk about sperm. Some love it and some hate it. Either way, it deals with science. Are you ready to dive into the world of human fertility? Recently, a study was published in the journal Human Reproduction Update that found some alarming statistics about sperm count and concentration in the last 50 years. The study found that average human sperm concentrations dropped by 51.6% and total sperm counts dropped by 62.3%. The researchers conducted a meta-analysis of 223 papers published between 1973 and 2018, analyzing sperm samples of a combined 57,000 men across 53 countries. This study expands on a 2017 paper by several of the same authors that found a similar decline in sperm count. The 2017 study focused mostly on people in Europe, North America, and Australia, but the new analysis includes data from South America, Asia, and Africa. This is particularly important, as the decline in sperm count and concentration is not limited to developed countries, it's a global trend. What is your initial reaction to the decline in sperm count and concentration? Do you think this trend has implications for human fertility? This decline in sperm count and concentration has raised some concerns about human fertility. The United Nations has even included male infertility as a global health issue in their Sustainable Development Goals. However, it's important to note that having a concentration of at least 40 million sperm per milliliter of spermatic fluid is seen as the threshold for fertility. The new study found that average sperm concentrations have dropped from 104 to 49 million per milliliter, which is still above the threshold for fertility. Are you surprised that this trend is not limited to developed countries? What do you think can be done to tackle this issue? But what does this decline mean for human fertility? Some researchers say that as long as people have a concentration of at least 40 million sperm per milliliter of spermatic fluid, having additional sperm doesn't increase fertility. However, the decline in sperm count suggests that the number of individuals with sperm concentrations below that level is increasing. Havai Levine, a co-author of both studies and an epidemiologist at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in Israel, said, "I think it's a crisis that we had better tackle now. It's also important to note that counting sperm is a difficult task. Even with the gold standard technique of laboratory process haemocytometry, counting sperm is challenging." Alan Pacey, who studies sperm and male reproductive health at the University of Sheffield in the UK, and was not involved in the study, said, "I believe that over time we have simply got better at it because of the development of training and quality control programs around the world. I still think this is much of what we are seeing in the data." Beyond the question of fertility, sperm count is also thought to be an indicator of other health issues such as increased risk of cardiovascular disease and certain cancers. Michael Eisenberg, a urologist at Stanford University who was not involved in the study, said, "We don't understand why we're seeing this pattern, so I think it's hard to be alarmist for an individual. But at a policy level, this should be a wake-up call to try and understand." Do you think this trend is related to environmental factors? The study did not investigate potential causes of sperm decline. The previous research has tied pesticide exposure to sperm quality and environmental factors such as exposure to pollutants from fossil fuels to lower fertility rates. Levine also said that a lack of physical activity, a poor diet, and smoking can all contribute to lower sperm counts. How do you think lifestyle choices like diet, exercise, and smoking affect sperm count? Do you think this trend is an indicator of other health issues? As we have discussed, the decline in sperm count and concentration is a global trend that is raising concerns about human fertility. But who does this trend have more implications for? According to organizations such as the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, and many others, Africa's population will double by 2050. This means that Africa will experience high rates of population growth, and the concentration of global population growth in the poorest countries presents a considerable challenge to governments in implementing sustainable development. In a news release from the UN titled Sustainable Development Goals, that states 17 goals to transform our world, estimates put the world's population at 9.8 billion in 2050 and 11.2 billion in 2100. Even if fertility rates continue to fall, the upward trend in population size is anticipated to continue, with about 83 million people added to the world's population each year. Nigeria is one of the 10 largest nations in the world and is expanding the fastest. Therefore, it is anticipated that Nigeria's population, which is currently the 7th largest in the world, will surpass that of the United States and become the 3rd largest nation in the world by 2050. A limited number of countries are responsible for the majority of the global growth. It is anticipated that just 9 nations, India, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Pakistan, Ethiopia, the United Republic of Tanzania, the United States of America, Uganda, and Indonesia, will account for half of the increase in global population between 2017 and 2050, ordered by their expected contribution to total growth. Children of Hispanic and African Americans will make up the majority of the population growth in America. Studies show that the white population of the country has decreased annually since 2016. Thus, increases in persons of color will account for the entirety of U.S. population growth from 2016 through 2020. The statistics also suggest that racial and ethnic diversity will be the defining characteristic of America's younger generations, including Gen Z and those that follow, as the white population ages and continues to decline, according to a Wednesday, June 23, 2021 article by William H. Frey for the Brookings Institution. Brookings Institution seems to believe that sperm count decline is a global public health issue that requires research and attention. In 2023, we must now reflect on if these findings were true. Africa's population is still expanding at rapid rates. The populations of 26 African nations are expected to increase by at least doubling between 2017 and 2050. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which aims to end poverty and hunger, expand and modernize health and education systems, achieve gender equality and women's empowerment, reduce inequality, and ensure that no one is left behind, presents a significant challenge to governments due to the concentration of population growth in the world's poorest countries. It's clear that the decline in sperm count and concentration is concerning, and more research needs to be done to understand the cause and implications of this trend. We want to know, what do you think about this decline in sperm count? Is it something you're concerned about? In your opinion, what research or studies should be conducted to understand this trend better? How do you think this trend will affect future generations? Will it affect people of color or whites more, or both equally? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section.